Hello everybody and welcome to another video, and as you can no doubt tell from the title, we're going to be checking out a band I have checked out 3 or 4 times already, Roses Unread. I have covered them quite a bit in the past, and they've just released a new track called Creatures, and they messaged me asking if I would take a look at it, so that's what I'm going to do today. Now, I've enjoyed the music of Roses Unread in the past. I've had a few little sort of niggling issues occasionally with some of the songs. You know, sometimes the vocal style sort of didn't rub me quite the right way, but you know, in general, I've enjoyed their music. So we're going to look at the new track today, like I said, called Creatures. We'll just jump straight into it and see what we've got. So, Creatures by Roses Unread. Let's have a look. There we go. Creatures by Roses Unread. That was a lot of empty air right at the end of there. There was 20 seconds of absolute silence at the end for no discernible reason whatsoever. So probably didn't necessarily have to be that long. Now, the piece of music itself was really, really good. It was really quite heavy. Again, you can really hear the bass guitar coming through, which, as I've said on numerous occasions, is often an instrument that sort of gets buried in the mix and forgotten about. It's almost like it just shows up for the hell of it, even if it's never going to be heard. Kind of like me at a party. Now, the actual song itself, I'm not entirely certain. I mean, excuse me. There are elements in it that sort of suggests they're talking about self-doubt, possibly depression, and that sort of thing. But I'm not 100% certain. Now, lyrically, it's pretty simple. There's a lot of repetition going in it. I mean, the chorus actually gets repeated at least 4 times, and there's only 2 verses in the song. So, there is that. So the lyrics go: I feel it over my shoulder, my shadow's right behind me, a voice from my past. Watching my every move, paralyzed, I can't react, like a ghost inside the mirror, but it's me I'm looking at. So, I feel it over my shoulder, my shadow's right behind me, so that they can feel something sort of hanging over them, something that's sort of like put right on their shoulder, something dark and possibly sinister. A shadow. My shadow is right behind me, and it even says, there's a secondary voice that says a voice from my past. So, there's something niggling at me. There's something that's following me round. Something dark, something possibly, like I said, sinister. It could be a depression of some kind. It could be self-doubt. There's something following you around, probably telling you can't do whatever it is that you're wanting to do. And it says, watching my every move, paralyzed, I can't react. Again, this thing's causing so much negativity and doubt in them. They can't react to it. They're scared of possibly failing, or it's whatever it is that's following is literally stopping them from taking action to even get rid of it. And it says, like a ghost inside the mirror, but it's me I'm looking at. So they're looking at themselves, but it's sort of a ghost of themselves. A sort of thinner aspect of themselves. They're not whole. There's something missing. And it goes into the chorus: we're all just creatures hiding from ourselves, and how do we know we're living when we're all just fighting to survive in a web of lies? So we're all just creatures hiding from ourselves. Again, that sort of suggests like the self-doubt, but it also could be suggesting like the depression sort of thing. How do we know we're living when we're always just fighting to survive? If you're not living your life, you're merely existing. If you're constantly fighting and battling, that's not living. That is literally just surviving. You're not enjoying your life. You're not going out and doing the things that you want to do. So you should take that time. Anyway, carries on. I feel it in my stomach, it's eating me alive. Butterflies are swarming like bees around a hive. It starts to sting like venom, while a snake hides in the grass. It gives you no fair warning, then it's gone within a flash. So, again, I feel it in my stomach, butterflies are swarming. Again, that sort of gives more credence to the whole self-doubt sort of thing, that the sort of nervousness, the anxiety, this could even be about anxiety, and that seems to be anxiety seems to be getting more and more prevalent these days. A lot more people are suffering from anxiety disorders these days, and it's not surprising considering what a shit state the world is turning into. But, she said, I feel it in my stomach, butterflies are swarming, so, her stomach's tying in knots, she's feeling that anxiety, that sort of trepidation, that fear of what's coming. It starts to sting like venom while a snake hides in the grass. It gives you no fair warning. Then it's gone within a flash, with no fair warning, with no warning, life can suddenly just gone, end, you know. Everything can just suddenly stop, and you get no warning. For all you could just be going to sleep and not wake up the next day. But to your mind, you're just going to go to sleep for a few hours, wake up in the morning, have your cup of coffee, go about your day. But that could just be it. You could just go to sleep and that be that. With no fair warning, it's gone. Then it goes back into that chorus. We're all just creatures hiding from ourselves. How do we know we're living when we're always just fighting to survive in a web of lies? Then there's a small sort of, is it a bridge or something? It says, will we make it out alive in the world looking inside? It's so hard to survive. And then it goes on to repeat the chorus a couple more times before the end of the song. So, I mean, in its writing, it's pretty simplistic, but I like the way some of the lines are written. Like I said, there's a lot of repetition, especially with the chorus, which, within the structure of how this song is, it kind of works, but I do feel like there could maybe have been a bit more substance to it, possibly. I don't know. But overall, I did enjoy the song. Musically, it was really good. The vocal performance, again, was good. It didn't have any of the those little vocal elements that sort of rubbed me the wrong way from previous and older songs. In fact, in the more recent songs, those vocal, I'll call them hiccups, the little vocal quirks that sort of didn't sit well with me haven't really been there in the more recent material, which is good. But even then, they weren't like a deal breaker for me. It's not like I hated it because of it. It just sort of, sort of rubbed me the wrong way when I heard it. So it's a pretty decent song. Quite enjoyed it. Like I said, I enjoyed the music. And again, I've covered them several times before, and I've enjoyed every piece of music I've heard so far. So yeah, decent track. But I don't know what else I can say about that, so I'll leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would, of course, be a massive help to me, since every piece of content I upload gets immediately demonetized the moment it hits the internet, which is, a little bit frustrating, but, it is what it is. There's an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue if you should so desire it. There is a limit on how frequently you can do that. That's limited to once a month, and that's just to be fair to other people who make suggestions through like YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook comments. And if you do make a suggestion through Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook comments, do know it might take me a while to get around to your suggestion, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it should get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it, unfortunately. Also, MetalHead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes. And one of the main facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative community. And it's something I believe in very strongly, and it's something that very frequently sort of gets brushed over. People just sort of ignore it and don't pay it any attention. And that's something that really needs to change, because it's a very real problem that's been going on for decades. And, we're not just talking about people shouting insults or, shoulder ramming someone from the alternative community as they're walking down the street. We're talking about brutal, violent crimes where people are getting hospitalized, sometimes with broken limbs, and sometimes even more life-threatening injuries. And, every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. We hear about these on a daily basis, from the most heinous and violent of these crimes down to the most petty and pathetic and childish of these crimes. We hear these in every facet of the news on a daily basis. But as soon as it comes to someone from the alternative community getting violently and brutally assaulted, nothing ever gets said. You know, the last time there was a widespread conversation about this sort of thing was 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently and brutally assaulted by a group of 5 or 6 people who beat them so severely, they stamped on their heads so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he thankfully survived the assault. He was in a coma for around about a week and a half, maybe a little bit longer. But Sophie Lancaster was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries, and she died. This young woman was 20 years old and was beaten to death just because of her taste in music and clothing. Now, when this happened, this was all over the news, as rightfully it should have been, and over time the story faded into the background, as you'd expect it to. But in the 14 years since that happened, we've not heard a single story like it. You know, nothing has been said since. Yet there have been several hundred, if not several thousand, similar incidents in that time. The only major difference is that no one has died as a result. And that's the key feature there. That people won't speak about this unless someone dies. And that's unacceptable. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before this gets spoken about. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to die before something gets done. And that's what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to bring more attention to the fact that this is happening. They want more people to talk about this. They want there to be more recognition of the fact that this is a very real problem and deserves as much attention as all of these other hate crimes that get spoken about on a daily basis. Because the more we ignore it, the more it's going to happen, because the people committing these crimes feel that they can get away with it because no one's going to pay any attention to it. And if we carry on ignoring it, it's only a matter of time before what happened to Sophie Lancaster happens again, and we cannot allow that to happen. You know, they don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks because of the small-minded actions of a group of people who couldn't handle the fact that somebody liked something different to them, that not everybody likes the same thing. These violent crimes against people of the alternative community deserve as much attention and as much, you know, they deserve to be spoken about just as much as any other hate crime. But at the moment, they're not getting spoken about, nothing's getting done, they're just getting ignored. And that needs to change. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there's a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a heck of a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously you don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it be a small donation through their website or something as simple as like one of these Sophie wristbands, maybe even that one, you know, they've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff going on over there. But, you know, the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.